Kakarosh, Boker Or. Daf Yomi Masechet Shevuot of Het Amud Aleph 8A1. Gilui Arayot Nami. What is the case of Gilui Arayot? Hechidami. What exactly is the case of the Tana that he's coming and he's saying that it's part of the Averot, which are mitkaprot with a Seida Pnimi, which means that we wanted to have the Seida Pnimi which goes inside the Beit HaMikdash. How do we know that that Seida Pnimi should be mechaper on Gilui Arayot? If he did it b'mezid, bar kitalahu, you kill him. He b'shogeg, and if he did it b'shogeg, bar korbanu, says you bring a korban. Huh? How does he do it b'shogeg? He thought it was his wife and it was somebody else. Yeah, that was the other case. You guys, I see you guys always will remember that case. Yeah, you have it. If it's going to be b'shogeg.
יש לי עוד דוגמה לדרך, טווינס. הבעל בא לאחד מהטווינים, הוא לא עשה לה בסוף, כי כבר הבינו, אבל הוא התחיל להתחמקש איתה, והיא חשבה זה בעלה. אני פה מהתפילה. והיא חשבה זה בעלה.
מה, ברצינות? זה קרה פה?
כן, ל-20 שנה. פה. כן.
פה בשולחן?
היא חשבה זה בעלה. עכשיו היא חשבה זה בעלה, היא מסתובבת חבל. מסכנים.
Let's go.
שמתי קצת ספייסס, אולי.
בוא נחפש את האומים לפני 20 שנה.
האמת, לפני 30 שנה.
So let's go. So he says like this. He says, right? B'mezid velo atrube. We're talking about what happened b'mezid. There's no hatra, so you can't kill him. Or b'shogeg, and he didn't find out about it. Lo tidelu. Shvichut damim nami. Also by shvichut damim. What's the case? Hechadami. B'mezid, if he killed b'mezid bar kitalahu, you kill him. V'i b'shogeg, he's going to be bar galutu. So says the Gemara, b'mezid velo atrube. Again, it happened b'mezid and didn't give hatra. Or b'shogeg and he didn't find out. Inami, or you could say, b'hanach v'la b'negelutu. There are certain people that they don't get galut. Right? So, for example, he comes and he says, in those cases of that you don't get galut, we're talking about the Sira Pnimi. What are the cases that you don't get? Right? Galut. So, we're talking about, for example, right, the father to the son, right, that he's giving him, or the rabbi to the student. When the rabbi comes and he kills the student by accident because he went and he had to give him too much lashes. Right? So, in such a case where he's educating the student, right, because the student was doing Chaye Shah instead of Chaye Olam, right? He was taking care of business instead of taking care of the limud of Torah. So the rabbi came and he gave him enough lashes and he killed him. Yeah, he killed him. Exactly. Bar minan. Yeah, fine. Amar More says, Yachol al shalosh tum'ot alalu yesayim mechaper. I would have thought to say that on these 3 tum'ot, the Seida Pnimi is going to be mechaper. Tamulomar mitumot velo kol tumot. It's only davka from tumot, but not all the tumot. So ma matzinu shechileka ba katuv miklal kol tumot. Where do we see that? By tumat mikdash kodoshav. Avkan. So to you we're talking about tumat mikdash kodoshav di Rabbi Yehuda. Meaning according to Rabbi Yehuda, it's not talking about the tumot of these shalosh averot chamurot. Remember that there's shalosh averot chamurot, 3 cardinal sins: gilui arayot, shvichut damim, avodah zarah. Or whichever order you could do, each one, you could say whichever order that you want. But these are the 3 cardinal sins, the 3 capital sins, right? The 3 main sins. So therefore, these are 3 tum'ot. So I would have thought to say that the Torah, meaning the Seida Pnimi, right, is going to atone for these 3 cardinal sins. Kamash malan, that it's not all the tum'ot, it's only from the tum'ot. Which tum'ot? Tumah migdash v'kodoshav. Tumah of going into the Beit HaMikdash when a person is tameh, or the tumah of eating when a person is going to be tameh. These are the words of Rabbi Yehuda. That's part of the Gemara. So he says, "My chilek," right? What does it mean now that we're going to be mechalek? So mighty, right? Bekorban olev yored. You're going to bring a korban olev yored. So Ema, I would have thought to say avodah zarah also. My chilek, right? So he comes and he says, the mighty sira velo kizba. You're going to bring a sira and not a kizba. All the other chayve kritut, it's going to be either kesev or sair, right? Here, it has to be dafka a sira, which is a she goat, not a he goat. Sa'ir is a he goat. Seira is a she goat, right? And not a kisbah. Okay? Right? Right? He said this is the Seir and Seira. Okay? So Amar of Kahana, says Rav Kahana, Anan, we are going to say, right? He says, Chilek la'akel ka'amrinan. Right? We're going to come and we're going to say, we're going to be mechalek to be mekel. But here, it's going to be machmir, not mekel. So he says, you're right. Ema, I would have thought to say that the pasuk of kaparat asira pnimi is on tumat yoledet. Meaning for sure it's tum'ah. But instead of saying it's on the tum'ah of the three cardinal sins, right? I'm going to say it's tumat yoledet. Right? That's what it's coming to purify. Right? And we're learning it that if right now, right, there's already, it's already Kippur after she already becomes pure. So I would have thought to say that she could eat the kochim without a korban, right? Because it was already a kapara with a seira pnimi. Right? The chilek de maite, because the pasuk is going to tell you that it's going to bring an olev yored. So Amar Rav Oshaya says again, lechol chatatam velo lechol tumotam. It says it has to be a chatat. No, it has to be it has to be a chet. Giving birth is not a sin. It's a tum'ah, yes, but it's not a sin. So he says lechol chatotam, and not lechol tumotam. Right? So that's what it says over here. That basically, that when a woman comes and she's going to bring, right, when she's a yoledet, she's going to be. We're not going to say that she's going to be patur from the korban because it's sira pnimi. But korban yoledet is not a kapara for anything. It's just to purify her, but it's not a chet. No, that's so ask the Gemara, and according to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, that he says Yoledet Nami Choteti. She is a Chotet. Why is she Chotet? Because she came and when she was giving birth, she said she would never go with her husband again, right? And therefore she is a Chotet. So what are you going to tell me? That Michael Lemema. So Rabbi Shimon Letamer, Rabbi Shimon goes according to his reasoning. Daman mimekomo muchra. He says from the pasuk in itself of the Sira Pnimi, it's mashma that we're not talking about only Tumat Mikdash v'Kodashav. So therefore, you don't need to learn a binyan av like Rabbi Yehuda. You don't need that. It's from the pasuk in itself that it's mashma. And it's only from Tumat Mikdash v'Kodashav. So it has nothing to do with any other type of tumot. So I don't have to start coming and saying, maybe it's this tumah, the other tumah. From the same pasuk, it's more mashma that we're talking about, right? The Tumat Mikdash v'Kodashav. So says the Gemara, Eima Metzorah. Maybe it's the Metzorah, meaning that the pasuk is coming to teach you that you're going to be mechaper from Tuma Metzorah, right? So he says, why? Therefore, he doesn't even have to bring a korban anymore, right? So Amar Rav Oshaya says, Lechol chatotam v'lo tumotam, the same thing. It's for all the sins and not a tum'ah. This comes to exclude a Metzorah, that the korban is not coming lechaper, it's coming letaher, right? The korban that the Metzorah brings is not coming to atone for him. It's coming to purify him that he can eat korbanot. The tzarat itself is the atonement. You understand? Meaning that the tzarat is that, not the korban. When you bring a korban, the korban, exactly, the korban is usually the kapara. Here, the mitzorah is the kapara, but that's his punishment. So that's the kapara. And the korban is letaheroto, to purify him, that now he could eat other korbanot, and he could eat everything else. But according to Rabbi Shemuel ber Nachman Yidamar, al shiva dvarim negaim baim. Ma'ikal memar. Do you know there's 7? This is a Mishnah in Erechim. There's 7 things that negaim come on them, right? Lashon hara, shfichut damim. Somebody murders, he could get sarat. Yeah, Shevuot shav, makes stam Shevuot for no reason. Gilui arayot, gasut haruach. Yeah, gezel v'tzarut ayin. So imagine a person steals, boom, gets sarat, right? All these things, yeah. So he comes and he says, there's shiva devarim that negaim ba'im alav. So Michael, what are you going to say then? How do you know then that the seed is not going to be mitaher, mechaper on the mitzorah? So he says, hatam over there by the mitzorah. What? 7. I didn't know it's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 7. I just quoted to you 7. In the notes on the bottom. Yeah? I told you, Lashon hara, shvichut damim, Shevuot shav, gilui arayot, gasut haruach, gezel tzarut ayin. Sheva. Yeah? Gezel and tzarut ayin. Tzarut ayin, a person that's stingy. Yeah? So he comes and he says, hatam over there by mitzorah, we're talking about the tzad of nigeh, which is nigo, which is coming to be kaper lav. The korban nishtaruye bekotchin. He says no. There, that's what I just answered to you before. The nega, the tzarat, that in itself is the kapara, and the korban is only stam to permit him to eat kotchin. So he says, okay, fine. What about nazir tameh? Meaning a nazir that became tameh met. Now the Torah says he has to bring a korban, right? And so why don't we say that also that tum'ah is the chilek, the mighty torim uneyuna, that he has to bring a torim and a meneyuna for a chatat. Now all the other tumot, they only have a chatat bema. So why over here do you have to bring a chatat of the foot instead of a chatat bema? Yeah, bema. Yeah. So he comes and he says this. He says, Amar Voshaya. He comes and he says, right? Amar Voshaya. Says Rav Voshaya, Hatotam velo tumotam. The Nazir Tameh, he doesn't bring it, right, for a kapara. It's only in order that he should count again as Nazirut. Meaning, are you listening? Yeah, it's only in order to come and to start again his count, right? Meaning that after a person comes and they make a pasek, right, an interruption, right, they have to start again from new. They don't realize that. You know, remember, Rabbi Akiva, right, he taught us, why didn't he, when he went home, why didn't he say hi to his wife, right? It was already after the 12 years, right? Why didn't he say hi to his wife, right? He didn't say hi, right? He went and he just left again. He didn't say, he says the reason why is because 12 plus 12 is not 24. I'll repeat, 12 plus 12 is not 24. It's two groups of 12. It's not 24. Right? Which means that a person has to understand. I'm going to ask you a question, doctor. How long does it take to heat up water? 7 minutes? Oh, it depends how hot, whatever. It depends on. Okay, let's say even. Yeah. Earn and this and that. Okay, fine. Let's say 7 minutes. I'm going to ask you a question. What happens if I heated it up for 100 minutes? But I stopped it every single time after 3.5 minutes. What happened? Nothing. You didn't do anything. The properties didn't change. For you to change the properties of the water, you have to cook it to 100 degrees Celsius, and then you change the properties of the water. If I came and I did it 100 minutes, you only needed 7, but I did it 100 minutes. But every single time, I had 3 minutes, and then I had a text. 3 minutes, and then I had a phone call. 3 minutes, and then I was in Honolulu. 3 minutes, nada. It doesn't work. Yeah, why? Because you never actually did it. מה? כן, כן. חיכית שיתקררו ואז... Yeah. Yeah, let's go. So the Nazir, the Nazir. Yeah, are you listening? The Nazir comes. The Nazir comes. The Nazir comes, and he says over here, the reason why the Nazir has to start again. So since he has to Nazir to start again, so therefore that's why he does it again. So he says, that the Nazir Nami Chotehu, he's also Chote, right? Why? Because he stopped himself from drinking wine. So Michael Meima, so Savalak Rabbi Shimon, Yosek Rabbi Shimon, Daman Mikumu Mukhra, no? Yosek Rabbi Shimon, from the same pasuk, it's Mashma, that we're talking about Tumat Mikdash Vekodosha. Okay? Until here we're clear. Fine. Amar More says, Rabbi Shimon Omer, Rabbi Shimon says, Mimekomo Mukhra, Sharei Omer, because it says in the pasuk, Vechiper al HaKodesh mitumot. When it says Vechiper al HaKodesh mitumot, mitumato shel Kodesh. So says the Gemara, 1 second. If that's true, and that's the pasuk, Vechiper al HaKodesh mitumot, and mitumato av Kodesh, so Shapi, so then Rabbi Shimon is Sodek. Right? Bemet, from the pasuk itself, it's mashma. That's Tumat Mikdash Shekodoshav, not anything else. So he says, Rabbi Yehuda Amalecha, Rabbi Yehuda is going to tell you, Yomi Baile, you need to have Kiecha David Lifnai V'Lifnim. That just like the Kohen Gadol does it in the Kodesh HaKodashim, and he does the 8 hazaot between the Badei Aaron, Achal Lemala V'Sheva Lemata. So he says, Hechi Navid Ba'Hechal, right? And that's what he's also going to do in the Hechal, on the Parochat of the Kodesh HaKodashim, right? Which means, right, that he comes and he says that just like he's doing it over there, so too he's doing it, right, in the Hechal. Meaning, V'chiper al HaKodesh mitumot. Just like he's doing it inside the Kodesh HaKodashim, he has to do the same thing in the Hechal. Achat lemala v'sheva lemata ela. Right? Yes. So he says, no, not enough. לא, בהתחלה חשבתי אתה כבר אמרת את ההמשך. ורבי שמעון, הכהן אידיוט. ורבי שמעון, and according to שיטת רבי שמעון, he says, ההוא וכן יעשה. He learns it, וכן יעשה לעול מועד, that that's what you have to do it. Right? נפקא. Rabbi Yehuda, according to Rabbi Yehuda, says, if it was from that to וכן יעשה, בעול מועד, he says, I would let's say bring another part of the Sayyid. So Kamashmalan, you don't have to bring another part of the Sayyid. You just have to do the same thing in the Hechal. Rabbi Shimon, according to Rabbi Shimon, it's from Mashma from there that we're talking about that all the Azaot have to be the same thing. Right? Amar More says. Huh? Amar More says. What did you say? Amar More says. Yachol tumat shebekodesh yesayiz ze mechaper. I would have thought to say al kol tumot shebekodesh it's going to be mechaper. Whether it's kol yediah, doesn't have yediah. Kamunumar mipi shehem lechol chatotam. It's makish. Yeah, here we're being makish. The chet to the pesha, just like the pshaim, which are done b'mezid, are not going to be mitkaper b'korban yachid. So to the chataim, which are going to be mechaper, right, on the sira pnimi, are not going to be mitkaper bekorban yachid. Yeah, I'll תבקש ממני summary אחר כך. My new, what exactly are we talking about? יש ידיעה בתחילה ויש ידיעה בסוף. We're talking about that you have yediah at the beginning and the end, and helem in time. Hi by korban. He says, 1 second, we have to bring a korban then. What are you talking about then? So we're not talking about that the seed is going to be mechaper on his korban, right? So therefore, even without the kesh, you have that. So he says, he only found out during close to shkiat chama, right, on Erev Kippur, and therefore he wasn't able to bring it before Kippur. So it comes out that it's only going to be. So I would have thought to say Adamaiti. So once they bring the korban on Kippur, by Chet Amubet, Nitlele, he's going to be protected. Kamash Malan comes to teach you, right, that the Tumash Yesh Yediah Basof, it does not get a kapara with the Mizbeach HaPnimi. Even on Yom Kippur, you have to bring your own korban. Okay? Fine. Next. Amar Mor. Minayin Sheyesh Ba Yediah. He says like this. How do you know Sheyesh Ba Yediah Batchila Ve'en Ba Yediah Basof Shezi Zetoleh? How do we know if a person has Yediah Batchila but not Basof, that this Sayyid is going to be okay? Remember, you knew about it at the beginning, but you didn't know about it at the end. So he says, Minayin, right? Obviously, you didn't know about it. So he says, Minayin, Micah Kasha, what's the question? Obviously. So he says, no, Hachi Kasha, this is the question. Hashta Damarta, now you just told me that there's going to be a kesh, right? That the Sira Pnimi is not going to be Mechaper only on Chataim, which is Domeh to Pshaim. Just like the Pshaim, de la Bene Korban, you don't bring a Korban, so to Chataim is also that you're not going to bring a Korban. Ema, I want to say, Ma Pshaim de la Bene Korban leolam, that it's not Bene Korban leolam. Av Chataim de la Bene Korban leolam. Umaynihu, what is that? En ba Yediah Batchila ve'esh Yediah Basof. You don't have Yediah at the beginning, but you do have it Basof. Aval yesh Yediah Batchila ve'en ba Yediah Basof. But if you do have it at the beginning, not at the end, Kevin the Chimit Yadale, right? Bar Korbanhu, since you know about it, you have to bring the Korban. So Imalolitli, I would say Be'emet that it's not going to come, right? And it's not going to protect you. The Chitim, and if you're going to tell me, En ba Yediah Batchila ve'yesh ba Yediah Basof, you do have you don't have Yediah at the beginning, but you do have it at the end. So therefore, this is going to be the seed which is on the outside in Yom Kippur is mechaber. So I would have thought say nepuch mepach that it's exact opposite. That nafochu, right? Nafoch the kapara of the two tumot, which means Saira pnimi is going to be mechaper on tuma she'em ba yediah betchila, and there is yediah basof, right? So he says in the Saira chitzon is going to be mechaper on tuma she'esh ba yediah betchila ve'em ba yediah basof. Right? And therefore, that's why you needed it. So Amarkar, the Pasuk says to do the pnimi, lechol chatotam. Miklal de bene chataot nimi. So it's mashma the chatat is going to be mechaper. So therefore, it has to be, what is that? That you did have yediah b'tchila, but not basof. So now when you find out about it, you're chayav a korban. This comes to exclude that you didn't have yediah b'tchila, that you'll never come to a chatat. Meaning like this, if you never knew that you became tameh, right? And then what happens is, right, you find, so therefore there's never a chatat. You didn't do a chatat at all. You didn't even sin. There was no atonement. You didn't even know about it. You were clueless, right? It's not that you just forgot, right? That's something completely different. When a person has it, he forgot, right? But he was tames. He should have been more careful. Here, he didn't know at all. So I would have thought to say v'nafochu. I would have thought to say, remember, there are two seeding. You have the korban, which is on the inside, and the korban on the outside, right? The korban on the inside, we said, right, was, right, yesh yidya. The one on the inside was yesh yidya betchila, then by yidya basof, right? And the one on the outside is emya b'yidya betchila, and yeshya b'yidya basof, right? But again, remember, we're never talking about mezid. Mezid, obviously, we're not talking about that. We're talking about that the person, he lost out. He lost out something, but we don't know if it was the beginning or the end. So he comes and he says, it's more mistaber to say that the one of the panimi is going to be mechaper, because at the beginning, it says chol chatotam. Has to be a chatat. It means for sure that you had to know about it at the beginning, and then you forgot about it in the middle. So says the Gemara, v'nitkaper kapara gemura. So he says, so 1 second, why shouldn't it be a full kapara? Right? Why is it that means he should be patur from korban at all? Why is it that we say that it's only going to be seir primi is only going to be mechaper until you find out about it? Yeah, 1 minute, right? Until you find out about it. Why? Meaning like this: if you just told me right now that the seir primi is going to be mechaper in such a case, so then the question is, 1 second. Right now, you didn't know about it. Yesh vidya betchila velo basof. The seir is going to be mechaper. Yes, we're talking about the right? The seir is going to be mechaper. After 2 weeks, after Kippur, you found out about the tumah. What do you have to do? You have to bring a korban. Why? Why don't I say the seir primi is going to be mechaper, kapara gemura? So answers the Gemara, iketiv, if it was written mechatotam, then you're right. Because that means from its sins. Right? But now that it says lechol chatatam, lehanach datu leklal chatat. It's only the ones which are coming to a chatat, which means, right, tum'ah, that you have yidiyah b'tchila v'lo b'sof. So it's coming to teach you that the seir pnimi is not going to be mechaper kapara gemura. It's only just like hanging. Meaning like this. Meaning like this. We thought, right? No, the seir chitzoni is a completely different case, right? We thought it completely cleans out completely.
Then you found out,
right? And then you found out a week later. So in the case when you found out a week later, you still owe it. That means it's like pending, exactly. It's mechaper until you find out. Once you find out, now you have to do it. Yeah? מה הקשר החיצוני? זה גמרא. זה גמרא, וכי מאחר שאינו מכפר, למה תולה? What does it help now that it's pending? If it's not mechaper, what does it help me? So answers the Gemara, Amar Bizera says the Bizera, Lomar she met below avon. You know what it means, depending? What means the guy died?
But anyway,
and therefore, once he dies, right, he says, right, he already has the kapara. So therefore, it's met below avon. So Elmaleh Rava says, Rava, he met, so mitam memaneket. He says, if the person died, so the death already is the kapara. So he says, Rava says, you're right. Tole is meaning Yisurin. It protects him from Yisurin. Meaning the fact that the Kohen Gadol brought the seir primi, it's going to protect him that he's not going to get Yisurin until he's going to bring the Korban. Why? Because that no, he לא מת בכלל. Right? Again, הוא לא מת עכשיו.
לא, שהוא ימות, כאילו.
No, לא מת, הוא לא מת. Right? It means, right, that a person right now, this is going to help him that until he doesn't bring his Korban, he won't get punished for it. Meaning like this, sometimes a person comes and they get exactly, it's like a pause. I mean, I'm not going to do anything to him. Right? Why? Because at the end of the day, there was an atonement. It wasn't a full atonement, meaning he still has to bring a Korban, right? But he doesn't get Yisurim. So fine. 2 dots. Yes. On the 2 dots on Chet Amubet, right? It says, what happens if a person didn't know at the beginning, but he did know at the end? So he said the Sa'id, which is on the outside, is going to be Mechaper, and Yom Kippurim itself, which means the Sa'id plus Kippur is going to be Mechaper. Michdi, we're going to come and see, we made a catch between them. Meaning these 2 Seirim, right? Why don't we say that it's the same thing? Meaning if there's a catch between them, I would say that it has the same atonement. V'nechaper pnimi, right? Adidei. right? The chitzon, right? He says that means the one, that means on the tumah, which is going to be on one, should also be on the other, meaning each one should be mechaper. So he comes and he says, so if it's going to be like that, so why do I need then the pnimi? So nafka mina leichad de lo avad chitzon. What happens if a person didn't do the outer one? Meaning like this, if you're making a cash, and I want to say that they both have the same qualities, meaning even though one is miyuchad for this, but if I say I cash that, so that means it could also work for that, right? So therefore, what happens if they didn't do the one on the outside? The one on the outside is a korban musaf. Well, they didn't do it. So I'm going to say, okay, but they did the inside. So he says, no. Amar Kra, the pasuk says, achat. It says, v'chiper alon karanutav achab bashana. Kapara achat mechaper, ve'eno mechaper shte kaparot. Meaning, the seida pnimi can only mechaper on one tum'ah, right? It cannot be mechaper on two tumot. Meaning, it cannot be mechaper on also if he's got yediyah b'atchala ve'lo b'sof, or on also en lo b'atchala v'yesh lo b'sof. It can be two. It's only one. So ask the Gemara, v'nechaper achitzon adideh v'amay davi pnimi. This is fine, but let's see, do it on the outside one. On the outside one should be a tone for both. And what's the Rav Kamina? L'tumah dira ben zelazeh. What if there was tumah that was done between one and the other? Meaning there was a tumah that was done between the bringing the first seed, which is the pnimi, and the second seed. So says the Gemara the same thing. Amarka achad b'shana kapara zo lo teheh ela kapara achad b'shana. It's only going to be one kapara. It's not going to be another kapara.